The connection between semantics and pragmatics. Semantics and pragmatics are both related to the way of meaning is derived from the language itself. Semantic studies are focusing on the meaning and the combinations of the word which hold for both speaker and listener. Otherwise, the pragmatics deals with how the content of the meaning of the words are used that can be detected via their true meaning at that particular time. That's why we come here, the sources in the Alkitab presented in the text include the Quran, the Hadith of the Prophet, the Bedouin's language or speech, they call Kalamul Arab, and then pre-Islamic poetry, means Ash-Shi'r al-Jahili. These sources called linguistic argumentation tools in Arabic grammar. In Arabic grammar, they use this kind of evidence came from the Quran, Hadith of the prophets, Badui, the word Badui means Kalamul Arab, language or speech, and then pre-Islamic poetry become the tools in Arabic grammar. Means this is the benchmark how to produce a good utterances or the good language or meaning in Arabic. That's why the corpus of linguistic data presented in the Kitab Sibawayh presents the correct way of speaking through precise lexicon and utterance construction. What it means, precise lexicon. Precise lexicon when you refer to the Quran. Precise lexicon when you refer to the Hadith and the Kalamul Arab. Based on the Kalamul Arab of the poetry literature. Then we go to the, this is the term I just get from the several English book grammar. Once they talk about the Arabic grammar, they translate the term that used in Arabic grammar. They translate into Arabic because most of the English people, they want to study Arabic grammar, but in their language, not in Arabic language. That's why they try very hard to translate in each word of the terms of the meaning. They try to translate into English. The most prominent figure in this field, I can tell you, Wistage. C.H.M. Wistage, Ramzi Balbaki, and we have several names, newcomers. I can give the several names to Prof. Faridah later. This is the classical Arabic possess 8 cases. This is the 8 cases mentioned in the Alkitab. Namely nasab. Nasab means they call in Arabic nasab, but the English called the accusative. Mean in the 3rd level of the sentence. First level is subject, object, right? Subject, object, and the 3rd level they call accusative. That is object. That is object. The accusative, they call this is not traces. They call the accusative context. And then jar, the genitive. But before I go further, just to mention to you, nasab means this is already transformed from the name. This is transformed. But the first step before we call nasbun, there is nasib, mansub. That's why they call the governor and then the governing. And nasib, there is the nasib here. Here is huruf nasab, anna, lakinna. This is the nasib. And mansub, the governing here, they call mansub. In English, we call the accusative. The accusative, in Arabic, they call mukawwin. The accusative context. And jar, I think, because you're from UIA, you must know Arabic a little bit, right? Jar, Jar, this is called harful jar. Mean jar, fi, huruf fi, huruf ba, bismillah. Why we call min? Why we say in genitive, huruf min, bismi? Why not bismu? Why not bisma? Because we have ba there. Ba here is called jar. In English, they call the genitive. Okay? And then the rafa. Rafa means in the nomination context. In English, they use contactual issue. But in Arabic, they name the contactual itself. They name it as a rafa. Rafa is already is a name, but there is a rafi. This is a rafi. The rafi here is something big, I just give you a brief idea here. Rafa here, this is the nominative context, or we call mubtada in the subject context. And then jazm. Jazmu, this is the istilah used by the Westage, the apocopat. First time I read the apocopat is very difficult to pronounce, but now I can pronounce well. Jazm, the apocopat, according to Westage terms. Jazm means the sukun. The sukun they call a zero vowel. We can use later we discuss this one. And then fatah the vowel. Now we have three. We have four. Nasab the accusative, jar the genitive, rafa the nominative, and jazmu the apocopat. And then we have another four. Fatah. They call the a vowel. Kasrah the e vowel. Bismi kasrah, call the e vowel. Dhammu for nominative, they call the u vowel, rafa. And waqaf, the zero vowel for jazm. By dividing these cases into decline and structure, how to make sure this is to be used correctly? How to make sure this? That's why they call, by dividing these cases into decline and structure, you must use the right structure to get the precise utterances and meaning. The decline words receive these different endings depending on the respective governor. So as a result, we get accusative, genitive, nominative, and apocopat. According to semantic changes, a change of any of these short vowel means fathah, kasrah, dam, and waqaf. Short vowel suffix changes the entire meaning. Means if you change the ending, the suffix, the ending of the change, they will change the entire meaning of a sentence, and it is utmost important, very important. If you change, it's supposed to read. I will give you the example after this. If it's supposed to read, Inna Allaha bari'un minal musyrikina wa rasuluhu wa rasulihi. In Quran, in Mushaf, they say wa rasuluhu. What is the difference between qira'ah or reciting wa rasuluhu and wa rasulihi? If you read wa rasulihi, you are contrast the meaning, and this is will get a big punishment from God to you. Okay, then we go to the example of this one, example of the implementation. How can the changes in reading result in change of the meaning of the text based on the short changes of the short vowels that we mentioned before? For example, the Quranic verse. The Quranic verse, Annallah auzubillah minasyaitanir rajim. Annallaha bari'um minal musyrikina wa rusuluhu. This is in Quran. This is in Mushaf now. What is it mean? This is from At-Taubah, verse 3. God is free from all obligations to the politics, and so is his messenger. And so is his messenger, mean Rasulullah. His messenger is Rasulullah, Rasuluhu. If the letter I, warusulihi. If we say warusulihi and not u in warus and rusuluhu, his messenger is with a succeeding I vowel rasulihi, the meaning would change completely and would mean and so is he free from his messenger. Very, what we call, very important to know the short vowels ending, because it will change the meaning.